John Drake, Councillor Fiona Gaskell, and we have Councillor Jill Haynes who's subbing for her, and Councillor Vicky Ponchek and Councillor Pip Liver is subbing for her.
Thank you very much. Any declarations of interest that people want to raise now rather than within an application? No. Okay. Thank you. Minutes of the last meeting. Is everyone happy with those? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. All we go. Read the date. Is it the 9th?
9.
Thank you. Any urgent items?
No, we have none of those.
Questions? No. Letters of objection outside of the.
No, I've not received any directly to us.
Okay, lovely. Okay, so we'll start on page 9 with applications registering with 15th, the 22nd and the 28th of the 5th. So first up, we have 5/2026/0837, which is 148 Station Road.
Okay, the property is the left-hand side of a pair of semi-detached properties. Proposed is looking to demolish the detached converted side garage building, which is being used as an office, and replace partially over the footprint with a 2-storey side extension, which will provide an enlarged entrance area, shower room and bedroom / study at ground floor, and an ensuite walk-in wardrobe element at first floor. A gap down the boundary is retained. The extension is set back from the front building line, which falls in line with the front building line of number 146 Station Road, therefore reducing any impact on them from the proposal. Garden room at the end of the garden is also proposed. This is all flat roof design with long gardens of Manor Avenue beyond before reaching any properties. There is off-street parking for 3/4 cars, vehicles. So no tree works, not conservation area, consider no objection.
Thank you. Anyone got any disagreements or questions for Heather on that? No? Thank you very much. 5/2026/0839, which is 32 West Way next.
Okay, the property presents as a narrow detached gable roof dwelling, utilising a much smaller footprint than the neighbouring properties. As noted in the relevant history detailed above, permission was granted for a single-storey rear extension under prior notification permission, but was not constructed or has not been constructed. Objections were lodged by number 34 West Way against this application, expressing concern over the 8-metre rear extension that projected far beyond the rear building line of both neighbouring properties. This new proposal is a much larger scheme than the prior notification and is looking to substantially increase the bulk and massing. It's proposed to extend alongside up to the boundary number 34 West Way at ground floor, which still projects 8 metres rearwards, but with a 2.1 metre section stepped in away from number 34, and the 45-degree visibility zones shown as not impeded for both 30 and number 34. A small box bay window is also proposed to the frontage. At first floor, a 4.3 metre rear extension over the proposed ground floor extension is to be added, along with an extension along the side, which is stepped in by 1.1 metre from the boundary number 34. Accommodation in the roof space is also proposed to provide 2 further bedrooms, which will be 5 in total, a bathroom and music room. This is achieved by the introduction of a crown roof, front skylights and a rear door window. The roof ridge height is marginally increasing, but will be marginally higher than number 34, but lower than number 30. Despite the extensions making the property much larger than it currently is, the bulk and massing is of a similar scale to the neighbouring properties. There is off-street parking on the frontage, no tree works and not conservation area. So these are the objections, subject to the proposals not having a detrimental impact on the neighbouring properties and then the relevant policies in relation to that.
And I've heard anything from number 34 or the other side? Nothing at all.
No objections for either side, as of yet, anywhere online.
Anyone got any thoughts on this one? Or feelings either way?
As currently stands, it does look a little bit squashed by the others,
Odd,
doesn't it?
yeah.
It's not 100 anyway.
I suppose that they're all semis as well down there, aren't they?
Yeah, it's
So it feels like it's an infill, but
Yeah.
obviously the numbering of it isn't an A and a B. So
Yeah, strange.
yeah.
Okay, are we happy with Heather's proposal? Yeah, thank you very much. So the following do not meet the criteria for this evening's meeting. That's 5/2026, 0848, 0704, 0813, 0469 and 0854. In addition, 0792 and 0800. So we move to 5/2026, 0947, which is 26 Roundwood Park.
Okay.
We have had some communication on.
We have, yes. So I haven't, sorry, I've received one letter of objection directly to me, but there were a number of other objections online from residents in Roundwood Park and also actually the surrounding area. So my observations are the existing properties on the existing property on the site is sizable with a wide frontage and large rear garden. Plot is approximately 60 metres in depth and 38 metres in width. This application is seeking in principle approval for the demolition of the existing dwelling and erection of up to 3 dwellings on the plot. There are no details in the application at this stage of the type or size of dwellings, which would be provided at the next stage in the planning process. Without this detail, an informed decision on if development is acceptable on the plot is difficult to make. The application details that any future applications for the site will take into consideration the protected trees along the rear boundary. Property is not locally listed or in the conservation area. However, that being said, the property is of strong importance and value to the area, being constructed as part of the original Roundwood Estate development with unique features not seen on other houses in the locality. There's a strong public feeling known objecting to the loss of this unique and characterful property and potential irreversible damage to the existing street scene. Hertfordshire Highways have no objection. So at this point in time, I said, consider expressed concern. Whilst the committee acknowledges the property is not locally listed or in the Harpenden Conservation Area, therefore the protections this would afford it are not applicable, the property is viewed to be of unique character and design, which in turn contributes significantly to the street scene and locality. Therefore, loss of the dwelling would be quite detrimental and cause irreversible harm to the street scene, along with the relevant policies in support of that. So local sort of objections really hinge around very much so I'm writing to formally register my shortest possible objection to the planning application. Roundwood Park is widely recognised and valued for its calm, spacious residential character, defined by substantial homes set within generous plots. Proposed demolition of this specific property and the subsequent overdevelopment of the site would cause irreversible harm to the local area. Object to the proposal based on the following material considerations: loss of a key heritage and architectural asset. The property subject to this application, arguably the most architecturally significant and characterful house on Roundwood Park, is a heritage asset that reflects distinct high-quality architectural features of its period. The irreversible loss, demolishing this building would permanently erase a physical link to the area's history. The house is a celebrated landmark and a source of pride for the local community as a result of its character and aesthetic appearance. One of the few remaining heritage properties on the road, and essentially they kind of reiterate the importance of features of it, the fact that by removing the spacious property, it would become sort of overdevelopment by replacing it with 3 properties. Yeah, and they're sort of kind of then
The same,
yeah, it sort of essentially reflects that. All of the objections reflect those same, that same sentiment really.
and you said that's the only one. I know they've.
No, many that I didn't print them all off. There's about 12 online
Okay.
from people in Park Hill, others on Roundwood Park, but they all essentially match that.
Same thing.
Exactly the same feeling, yeah.
Luke? So,
I would recommend refusal.
based on.
I would agree with that. It is significant to the street scene.
And additionally, if there was sufficient information attached to the application with respect to what was replacing it, I would be more inclined to
Consider it.
or express concern. But on the basis that there is significant detriment to the local character potentially, and a lack of sufficient information, I've would suggest we recommend refusal.
Well, we just don't know what's.
Exactly.
Yes, the developer, isn't it, that's gone in with this, because it's for the.
No, it's not actually, it's executors, the estate of Mr. Michael William Nee, so I think it must be that,
They're trying to make.
Inherited.
yeah, so potentially it's a case of that well, the house will be sold probably with planning permission attached to the sale. That's me guessing, to be honest, but it's not a developer that's put it in.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on?
I certainly think what Heather has said there is absolutely right, and would even lean to refusing because you don't know what's going to replace that. And given-
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
You know, 12 people writing is significant.
Yeah.
Yeah, might be for that.
I mean, I think that the type of housing along Ramwood Park is various. I don't think it's exclusively large double front or large houses like that. There's bungalows, there's lots of different types of housing. I remember going on, knocking on the door at one house, and we're built within the garden is another house. It's the fact its proximity is close to Ramwood Park School might have something to do with it. I don't know. So it's a lot of people want to get their children into Ramwood Park School. It's an opportunity for them to do it. I think if you can approve the building in a large garden of another house, 3 houses in a row, I don't see what the problem is. That's my own personal views.
I don't think the suggestion is that the problem is anything that it would be out of character with the street scene. I think the suggestion is that because of the historic nature of the architecture, it's a significant loss to replace it with 3 buildings of undiscerned nature because of the lack of information attached to the
It's
application.
not legally listed though, is it?
No, we've pointed that
Those
out
are
as well.
really-
Yeah.
I think potentially the reason why it's locally listed is because it's not in the conservation area. I think if it was part of the conservation area, it would be a strong candidate for local
Yeah.
listing.
I think you need much more clarity on what's going to.
Yes.
You do need more
Yeah.
clarity,
Could
but
we build that in?
Yes, I was going to say, yeah.
You said, that Sam and Jill made about
Yeah.
finding out more information. So then are we, express concern? We had a few people suggesting refusal.
Mm.
How do we feel about express concern versus refusal
I would vote to recommend refusal. So
in its current known states?
Yeah, they haven't given us anything, so.
Certainly strong, expressing strong
Yeah.
concern. Refuse. I'd like to see what the plans were before, I actually.
Yeah.
But I can understand the arguments for refusal, but I think a big question for me is what's going to be.
What's gonna be then? So,
Just planning without an actual plan to go ahead.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
See,
up to 3 is a bit vague.
Yeah, I think the reason being is that they want to be able to sell it. This is kind of like guessing here. They want to sell it with the opportunity for a developer to come forward with their own design
Yeah,
So sort
as
of
to how they want to
outline
deliver
planning.
it.
Yeah.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
Ultimately.
But as a statutory consultation, it's our job very much to approve proposals, not approve blank checks for people to do whatever the hell they want. And so solely on that basis, irrespective of the other concerns, I would recommend refusal personally, irrespective of the other comments surrounding the historic nature of the architecture and street scene. So to my mind, it's clear, but I appreciate.
so are you saying that you wouldn't approve the construction of 3 dwellings on that site?
I'm not saying that. I'm saying I would never sign a blank planning check for the construction of anything on any site without knowing what that actually was going to materialize as. In the time I've sat in this committee, we've not been in the business of doing that, and I don't see why we would start doing that now, irrespective of any of the other comments regarding the proximity to the school or the number of properties which you raise, which I think are broader strategic goals of planning, which aren't necessarily relevant to this specific application, this specific circumstance.
that's an interesting question, actually, that you've raised there, Sam, which is, do planning, as in Albans and everywhere else, actually give planning permission to such vague requests?
They,
Or would they just go back anyway and say,
no, they would. It's no different than an outline planning application.
right, okay,
Same as, you know, on a much larger scale, but you have the likes of North East and North West Harpenden. They're saying as quantity of houses they want
Yeah.
to develop.
yeah, but
Don't
they're not
have-
got the detail, yeah.
No, we have no detail. They tell us that this is what conceptually we are wanting to deliver. This is what, you know, this is
Yeah.
where the housing is going to be. This is where the play area is going to be.
Yeah.
But we don't know the design, the breakdown of the number of.
Fine, okay,
So I think
Understood.
it is, but it's just very rare. We see it on such a small scale.
plot,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, so what have you added into this recommendation?
So I'll expand on it. It's
Yeah.
really kind of following the wording that I put in there, but building in the fact that actually that the committee, with the lack of require further clarity in what is proposed for this site.
Yeah.
And then moving on to say that the historic, the character, the design, etc., the contribution to the street scene and the locality.
Okay, so I'm going to suggest, if everyone's happy, we take a vote on express concern or refusal, and then we can land either way. Does that work?
Yeah,
with you,
of course,
Hannah?
yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Okay, so who would prefer express, as it is here, but with the acknowledgement of the lack of information at the moment, so express concern? And who would go with refusal?
Okay, refusal, yes.
Thank you very
So
much.
which then leads me on to the next question, which I know that local residents are keen for this to happen, is whether or not the committee feel minded to call the application in. Because we do have that at
Okay.
our disposal, because we have recommended refusal.
That's a good way of guaranteeing the committee will look at it and discuss it.
It will do if the officer is minded to approve, yeah.
But it will show the planning officers that there is concern.
Yeah.
And
Due
hopefully
process.
we'll do the two things, so, you know, reassure residents. Allow residents to come to that meeting if they so wish, is to
So-
express their concerns.
I can initiate the call in, but that is on the proviso that I receive the support of 2 further district councillors in the ward to enable it to be called in, and I will do that, you know, tomorrow. Ultimately, I'll contact.
Who will you contact?
So it's whoever the district council ward councillors are for Harpenden North. To say, you know, that.
That's Kevin. is one.
Mhm.
Tell Kevin.
I don't remember who else is in North.
Um,
Is
Aisha, that's the other one. Aisha Rover.
and who's the third? The big-
Susan Griffiths.
Oh, super, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, so I'll send that tomorrow, and ultimately for the call-in process to be
So,
kind of picked up, I do need to
is
have.
everyone happy with doing that's a call in?
Yep. Okay, yep, and I will let you know sort of kind of my progress with that.
Thank you.
Okay,
So sorry, just to clarify, so is the calling process, does it require district councillors from the ward? I thought it was just district councillors.
it's the general, really.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I can in theory go to all district councillors, but from experience, generally councillors outside of the ward don't feel that they want to kind of tread on toes.
Essentially, you shouldn't be interfering in somebody else's casework, so casework is done on a ward by ward basis, so it's keeps things clean.
Yeah.
If you can do it like that.
Okay, that makes sense.
Okay,
Okay,
everyone's happy with finishing that then? Yeah. So the next few are not to be discussed this evening. That's 5/2026, 0811, 0821, 0765, 0824 and 0805, and I continue with 0660, 0914. We are now on 5/2026, 0918, which is 51 Milford Hill.
okay, proposals looking to demolish the existing single-storey rear utility element and over the footprint construct a part single, part 2-storey extension across the rear with the first floor element stepped in away from number 49 Milford Hill. Be sure the 45-degree visibility zone is not impacted. A 2-storey side extension is also proposed, again stepped in to maintain access down the boundary on the side with number 53 Milford Hill. The first floor extensions will achieve 1/3 bedroom, which will be 4 rooms total, relocation of the ground floor bathroom to first floor and an additional ensuite. The road slopes downwards towards number 53, therefore the proposed side and rear extension could create an impact on them, given the increase in rear bulk and their property coming closer to their boundary. A front porch is also proposed, which adds character to the property. There is off-street parking on the frontage, no tree works and not a conservation area. I've said consider no objection, subject to no detrimental impact on number 53 Milford Hill, and then the relevant policies.
Thank you. Everyone happy with that? Or got any questions? Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, we'll do that one. Thank you, Sarah. 5/2026 and 0871 do not meet the criteria for this evening, but 5/2026 which is 101 Grove Road does.
Okay, the property is the right-hand side of a pair of semi-detached bungalows. The left-hand side is number 2 Hawthorne Close, with Grove Road to the right. Property sits on a slightly elevated plot. The proposer is ultimately looking to add accommodation at first floor level by means of adding 2-story extensions to the front and rear, along with conversion of the roof space. The front extension will achieve an extended bath/shower room and entrance hall at ground floor, and at the first floor achieve additional space for a proposed bedroom. The rear extension extends across the full width of the property with a first floor element partially across the ground floor extension to provide a bedroom. Further accommodation that is created by the roof conversion is another bedroom, which will be 3 in total, an office and a bathroom. The ground floor accommodation is reconfigured to provide expected ground floor accommodation with all bedroom provision moved to the roof space. The main roof ridge height is not increasing. However, the proposed extensions add significant bulk and massing to the property, which appears to create an imbalance to the 2 connected bungalows. Given its elevated position, the proposal could also lead to a detrimental impact on the streets in both Broadstone Road and Grove Road. And I've said consider the committee expressed concern that the proposal could lead to an imbalance of the pair of semi-detached bungalows and a detrimental impact on the streets in Broadstone Road and Grove Road. And then the relevant policies.
Vince?
Where's the parking for this house?
Yeah.
It's on a bank.
Yeah, it's right at the back.
Is there actually any for that one?
Yeah, it's. let me
Or maybe you're
see.
going to Hawthorne and there's one at the back of the other one.
So it's down the bottom of the garden,
Okay.
I believe.
It's quite large.
The new design is quite large.
Yeah, when you consider it's a bungalow like that,
They're both sort of semi-retirement type little cottages, aren't they?
they are
Yeah.
really in theory.
Has the neighbour said anything?
No,
I
They
think
might
they-
not be online or
they were
looked
both
at
up for
it.
sale recently, I think.
Yeah,
So there might
this one they were
be in it.
trying to sell.
Okay. Jill Pip, any thoughts?
I mean, it's basically turning a bungalow into a house.
Yeah.
But still attached to a bungalow.
I think it's going to look
Yeah.
stupid.
It's just a little bit unusual, isn't it?
Yeah.
On what basis would you reject it?
It creates basically will create an imbalance to the neighbouring bungalow, and also due to its elevated position, it's probably going to have quite an odd look on the street scene.
It's interesting because sometimes what we get back from St Albans Planning is that they like pairs of houses to look
Look
quite similar
same,
side to side, and then in other areas, they're not bothered, so I don't really.
The one next door has got a little extension on the front
Yeah.
and on the side. So there's more realistic scope to do than,
This is a more significant extension to that one, isn't it?
So, I mean, Heather's comments are quite balanced. They're not kind of
yeah.
jumping off the fence either way, in terms of we're expressing concern that it could lead to imbalance.
The only thing I'd say is the piece on the front doesn't look particularly larger than the extension that next door has.
No,
The
it's-
back
It's the
that's
ridge,
the
isn't it?
concern.
but it's,
Yeah, ridge.
yes. Yeah,
They
so
are.
it's the same, the ridge isn't increasing, but like the neighbour, although they're extending it, they've got an extension at the front. It's much more subservient to the ridge height. Yeah.
Which that has the chimney on, is that going up?
No,
No, it's just going out the back,
Just-
isn't it?
so it's nothing's going up, but it's everything's coming out.
At the back.
It's coming out at first floor level. So I think if I just move on down here, you can see that it's certainly on the
the right-hand picture, the bottom where it's the side elevation, that, you know, we're coming out at this, at the ridge height at first, at the front and the rear.
Choose front and back on that one.
Yeah. So which is front.
The
So
smaller one
front-
is the front or the
Yeah,
bigger?
the front is the smaller
Okay.
and the rear is the slightly larger, yeah.
It will change the way the neighbours see things from looking out their window, because they won't be able to look past a certain point onto the road, for example.
How far back does it go? I'm sorry, I can't remember what you said.
I might not have stated actually
Right.
how far back it goes.
I mean, personally, I'm happy with express concern.
Don't think you've got anything sufficient.
No,
beyond
And I think it depends which way
St Albans
St Albans
side
like
to go, yeah.
on the pairing, because we've had
Why,
it both ways, yeah.
if I may, why have we not had, why have we worded it like this in terms of the imbalance rather than referencing loss of amenity?
Because I don't know that it's going to cause a loss of amenity to the neighbour.
Right.
So
Put
again,
that in as a concern, though. To ensure
Possible
that-
loss of amenity.
So looking at the side
Yeah,
elevation,
yeah.
it looks like it potentially will, because
Yeah,
looking on the side, you're building a whole new barn.
it's quite difficult to, from what we've been presented, to establish if lots of amenity will occur. I'm not personally, I mean, the imbalance is obviously not a thing, but wouldn't be necessarily inclined to block it on the basis of the imbalance alone. And if there wasn't a particularly detrimental impact on the neighbouring, on the attached bungalow, I wouldn't necessarily.
think you have, I don't think the planning committee would see it as a case for refusal.
no,
I mean, I'm not on planning committee, but from what I understand, I think what we've got there is essentially as a sensible
Yeah.
contribution.
I do think we should add in loss of amenity
Yep.
to their attached part friend.
And you just said that there's no other complaints from anybody else.
no, but you see the difficulty.
Suppose it's that.
Yeah.
Bill,
It might be that it just hasn't gone live online, you know, potentially if it is an elderly person in there or
That's
it's
the
really
other
empty,
side.
they may have submitted their objections in writing. I rely on
Yeah.
them online. This is on the list that only came out 2 weeks ago.
Not presumably that.
So it's relatively fresh and new in the consultation kind of period. So just because there isn't one on there now, doesn't necessarily mean that there isn't one
Or won't be.
or won't be one in the future.
Okay, so are we all happy with it? Guys, are you happy with express concern? Yes.
Good.
And we're going to put loss of amenity in as well.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, happy with that? Thank you. So finally, we've got 5/2026/0913, which does not meet criteria this evening.
Okay,
So now on appeals,
there's no appeals this time.
Tree Works,
Tree Works, there's nothing of any real interest.
Oh, no.
It's kind of
Yeah.
2 pages there.
and any
Um,
decisions?
Yeah, so just a couple that I wanted to sort of kind of highlight, brought to your attention, which is actually, no, well, yes, I will tell you this one. It's not strictly within our kind of boundary. It fits into Hartmanton Rural, which could have been considered by Redbourne. Is just useful for you in terms of having the knowledge, is the piece of land which is next door to the Hartmanton Rugby Club, which I think is like an overflow parking field.
Oh,
that
just
they
past
have.
it, yeah.
So no, not past it, before it.
Oh.
So so if you're going into the, okay.
Yes, with that.
So it just as you go into the rugby club, it's on the left-hand
Yeah.
side. So that has gained planning permission for 3 detached dwellings to go in there.
Okay.
So which is quite an interesting proposal, just to keep you alert to. The other one is 6 Brackendale Grove, which I just very quickly show you the location of that, just to remind you all. This one here. So if you can remember, we've looked at this application last time, I think, and then we looked at it previously.
Yeah,
It's got permission for the last application. that we
Okay,
looked
the
at,
reduced
which was
one.
A slightly reduced one. Yeah.
right.
And then also really, because of it was interesting to the room, but also actually probably from a personal point of view for Nick, the planning application for number 6, Leighton Green, if you remember this one, where we were not quite sure whether or not it was a little bit of an overdevelopment. bulk.
House next door to Waitrose.
It is,
Ah.
yeah. So this was being refused.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, so the reason for that is proposed development by virtue. Give me a second. Move on. So this one is refused. The proposed development by virtue of the bulk, scale and design of the side and rear extensions would result in a disproportionate additions to the dwelling, which would overwhelm and subsume, that's a good word, subsume the host property, resulting in the loss of elements that contribute to the special interest of the locally listed building. So there we go, and then further works. So just thought I would share that with
Thank
you.
you.
And that is it. Yeah, no, that was it.
Lovely. Thank you very much,
Okay,
everybody.
so meeting.
It's all over. So nice.
Thank you. Lovely, thank you.
All tyranny is low.
Yeah. Oh, I asked about the Red Bull, the rugby club. What?
Right, bear with me just a second. I'm just going to stop the recording.